Hello, it is a pleasure to be part of this seminar so important to the world of education. Thank you very much for the invitation, Guilhermina, Aletia, and all colleagues at UNAM. I have been involved with future studies for 20 years, and I'm leading the activities of Teach the Future in Brazil since 2018. I'd like to share some slides to support my message. Just a minute. Okay. I'm Rose Alegria. I'm talking from Brazil. I am graduate in the master's program of future studies at the University of Houston, Clear Lake, and was privileged to have Peter Bishop as my teacher in the early 21st century. This was an experience that changes my life. The dream of being an astronaut that is common to some children. I had this dream also, and I never thought that one day I would be studying just so close to NASA. The university was very close to NASA. At this time, NASA was in Houston. It was a transformative experience in my life. I could see the planet in real time, and I saw myself on the planet, looking at the TV through the NASA channel. I was living there in my campus apartment, and I saw the TV and looking at the planet and looking at myself there. So that was very, very important image for me. This strong connection I have with this image of the planet came through this epiphany in the NASA channel, and from there I worked for a long time with environment and sustainability programs. This image of the planet Earth inspires me and reminds me of a Native American proverb that says that we did not inherit the word from our ancestors. In fact, we borrowed it from our children. So this is another image, very, very transformative image. This image is called the Earthrise. It was taken by Apollo 8 astronauts. And this image changed the world. Just 50 years ago, we had a more real image of the blue planet and this beautiful sphere. And from this image, we became more aware about the planet. This image greatly influenced the environmental movement in the 70s and still influences today. That is only 50 years. I also want to talk about the importance of images, about the relationship that new generations have with the future. Alvin Toffler said once in one of his articles, he wrote about the relationship of young people to the relationship with the future that young people had, and about the importance of the images that are nurtured in their minds. So my question is, what kind of images are we spreading today in the schools to young people? What quality do these images have? Do they scare? Or do they inspire? Do they inhibit or stimulate anticipatory skills. I learned about Teach the Future when it was founded by Peter Bishop in 2014, and in 2018 he proposed it to me to introduce Teach the Future in Brazil, and I said yes. I loved the idea, and I formed a group of people who believed in the idea. At that time, I had already become a grandmother. I am a grandmother now of 3 kids. And my connection with TTF was profound because I reflected upon something about the quality of my ancestry. I asked myself, am I being a good ancestor for these kids and for all the kids of the world? That these kids will live much longer than me on this planet. Teach the Future makes me feel responsible as an ancestor. As an ancestor of future generations, and it makes me feel kind of purpose, kind of legacy that I have to leave, and makes much sense in my profession as a futurist. It is a privilege, it's a real privilege to be part of this community that has expanded around the world. And now I am very pleased to work on the development of projects for TTF Global, together with Peter and together with some colleagues here. We have already conducted some courses, some activities with private schools, public schools. We've been also teaching teachers from all over the country. We are always present in the Brazilian press, and we have had a significant impact on the educational system. We are in alignment with the curriculum base created 4 years ago by the government. And this is our management group in Brazil. And we also have a group of notorious people that they are very knowledgeable in their fields. We call them ambassadors, and they help us propagate TTF across the country, including Professor Lilia Mello. She is among the 50 finalists in the most important global teacher award in the world, the Global Teacher Award. So Lilia Mello is one of our ambassadors in Brazil, and she's very excited about being together with us. The challenges of the education for the future are there for us to embrace, are there for TTF to embrace and help, and to give creative responses, inspiring people, inspiring teachers, inspiring schools to insert the future in schools, in the educational system. This image was created 100 years ago in the early years of the 20th century and portrays our society now. This was is an image how people looked at the future, how they saw the future in this 21st century that we are living now. So what you see, you're seeing here a lot of electrified books, okay, implanted in the heads, in the student brains. So in reality, this is what happens today. We are trying to implant content in the minds of young people, since many of these contents do not interest them. With the internet, they all have the content they need. So in reality, this is a situation. We are preparing students for professions that will no longer exist, with technologies that are obsolete, to solve problems that are still unknown. This is a phrase I read somewhere with no author, so I have replicated here because I think this is very, very precise about the reality and the challenges of education today. So this is A.G. Wells, one of the most famous science fiction writers and futurists. And he also asked what we are asking today. In 1932, he was giving an interview to BBC. This is an article with what he said in the interview. So why we don't teach the future in schools? Why we still teach only the past? This has been questioned by many years. So this is an example. One of his statements. Doesn't it seem clear that we should have not only one or two foresight professors, but entire colleges and departments doing their best to anticipate and prepare? In the 70s, Alvin Toffler was one of the first to disseminate the idea about the future in schools also with the book. This book is really good and published in 74. And this phrase is well known and introduces one of the great challenges that this pandemic moment presents to us. And we have to think about how we will live our lives in this post-COVID era. What are the great challenges of living in these post-normal times? To be understood by complexity, by chaos, and by contradiction. So this phrase of Toffler brings some of these challenges. The illiterates of the future will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So we will all have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. This is one of the biggest challenges of our new times. More recently, in 2019, the OECD published this latest report, and the first sentence of the foreword is this: how education will reinvent itself, respond to the megatrends that are shaping the future of our societies, and educating students for the future instead of the past. So in order for us to be protagonists instead of victims of the future, we have to come together. We have to collaborate. We have to create communities, identifying actors that are very conscious, very aware of the challenges that need creative responses. And through a great diversity of ethnies, of gender, of disciplines, of views, diversity will be the way. And we can create communities around Teach the Future all over the world. That's what has been done in some countries now. There has never been a more favorable moment than this one. In the pandemic, this is the moment which Ervin Laszlo calls the macro shift. The macro shift. And this moment is requiring futures literacy in schools. So I would like to conclude with a reflection for all of us. These children who are being born or have been born already, these children will be able to live till 2100 year. These children maybe will cross this year. So the questions that we have to ask ourselves now is, are we contributing to create a better future for them? How are we behaving as ancestors of these new generations with so many challenges ahead? What can we do now so that the educational systems help them and enable them to have a constructive relationship with the future and help them create their desired future? Thank you very much.